Seriously. Good evening, everybody. Well, there's only 2 or 3 of you at the moment, so it's easy to say good evening to everybody. First thing I would tackle is this. Yeah, no, guys, no, I'm very sorry. I actually remembered to turn off both the microphones. What happens is, during the day when I'm just doing my normal recording of what I'm doing, I'm using the microphone on the above camera and not the one that I'm wearing right now. And every now and then I forget to turn off the above one when I go to do a YouTube live stream. Anyway, so we've got this iPhone 8 or SE, and it's sort of got a bit of a growth problem. Hopefully it is okay aside from that. We'll have a look. Looks like that was looks like this was an original. Either it's an original or someone did actually take the time to put the adhesive back in when they changed the screen, but I have a feeling this is an original. 50-50. That is a very puffed up battery. Alright, so let's get this out of here. If I can find the right screwdriver. This is sort of a bit of a carry-on from my day's work. Normally I clear out most of my iPhone stuff before I get started for the night. Damn it. Looking for my PHOO. Oh, there it is. That's what I was after. Hey, Trady. Hey, Jim. Get off there. Oh, Sudi's here. Hello, Sudi. Joe, DJ, Michael. It's a little bit early in the evening for a lot of people to be turning up, but we'll get there. This battery is so badly inflated it almost has actually just removed itself from the chassis anyway. Okay. Now I'm hoping that it's just a case of a shattered screen and a bad battery. Oh, fuck. The screws that are on the retention plate around the camera, they have a very low magnetic property. So as a consequence, they don't stick to your screwdriver. Which is fine, as long as you... Oh great, now we've got 2 screws out there. That means one must have... Yeah, okay, there's one from up there. It's a very puffed battery. Hey, Daniel Rock, Brian. I don't know why they changed the composition of the adhesive on these newer models. I was perfectly happy with the more silicon strip style that they had for... Oh man, 6 onwards, but instead they've gone for this new thing and it's nowhere near as easy to remove. I guess that's why they did it. Now if I was outside or something, I would puncture this just to show you that there is a difference between an inflated battery due to overcharging and an inflated battery due to undercharging. And this is a undercharged one. It's basically just died due to neglect. And when you rupture them, they behave differently. But of course, you only ever really see in the news, you only ever really see the ones that are rupturing because they've been overcharged. Hey, Jürgen. And I gotta try to get this stuff out. I find this stuff very annoying to get out because it doesn't draw out like the old stuff. It just sort of breaks away. Quite annoying indeed. I'm definitely not puncturing it while I'm in this office. I mean, it's not going to go up in a volatile way like an overcharged one will, but it still will have some gas release, and I'm in no mood to be smelling its gas. This is such a pain in the backside. You can see why a lot of people just apply the new battery over the top. Hey, blazing. Well, first I'll test it. There's not really a lot of point in going ahead with this unless it actually works. Yeah, I could put IPA on it. I just hate how it goes all sort of soggy like that after. Oh, hello. You're a new way of packaging. You're not a... You're an old battery. Damn it. Why is my 8 stock all... Oh, great. Doesn't even have a frickin'... Oh, well. Cuss, complain, cuss. Nether Sleeper. Yes, I do transfer True Tone. I have a Kian Lee transfer tool. I don't remember the scratch being that brutal. Alrighty. Let's see if this just needs a charge. Hey, Jim. What do you say? 200... Okay, so we are getting somewhere. Uh-oh. You're boot looping. Why? It might be boot looping because it's a bad battery, or... I'll just have a look at the gas gauge MOSFETs, see if they're okay. Pregnant guppy. Now that's a term I have real world experience with. The MOSFETs seem fine, so I'm going to guess that's just a really crap battery. I'll go see if I've got another one. Yep, naturally not. No black screens and no good batteries. Wow. That's terrible. Got a horde of white screens and no black ones. I'll see if I've got a power adapter for it. Yeah, so I can just test it. I know I have for the 7 and the 7 Plus, but I'm just not sure if I got the 8. So 7 Plus. Pardon me. Hey there, 3X. 6, 10, 6. A very abused 8. See if I don't have a better condition 8 somewhere. Yep. I think I might have to look at buying another set of those. What? Why would you want to smoke crack for a hobby? Seems like a very quick way of ending your life. Certainly making it pretty unreasonable. Alright. I'm going to have to disconnect my USB-C meter. Alright, so we've got the logo. Now I've got to see whether it actually finishes the boot. The current's looking good. Yep. Yeah, it's interesting. It did flash up with the user login and then it reset itself. I might have to make this a data recovery only. I don't know. I'll just have to get myself another battery. I just can't believe that I ran out of stock of the screens and the battery. This here is an original, genuine iPhone 8 screen. Yeah, so we get that, and then it craps out like that. So I'm going to assume it's probably just not getting enough battery power. Still a bit annoying, means I've got to stick this onto the shelf and come back to it another day. So that sort of stuff gets annoying. Alright, we've got another iPhone I've got to sort out. This one here should have been done on Monday or Tuesday, but things have been neglected a lot around here. We've got tiling going on in the kitchen and upstairs, and it's kind of disrupting... Well, it's disrupting basically everything. Ach, nee, man. So put that with the screen so I don't separate them. Alright, so this was a screen jobby. Or was it? Oh yeah, this is a screen jobby. It just doesn't look like it's a screen job, but it is. And there are charge issues. And as far as I recall, it because I fixed the screen on this quite some time ago, and then he told me that it was misbehaving, the screen, but it's got drop damage on it. You can just tell by the way that it looks that it's likely drop damage, and he didn't contest that anyway. Battery's a bit shonky. But yeah, it's got charge issues, and I've got to work out whether it's the Flex or whether it's the TriStar or whatever. I believe that's why I had this, because I was testing it and it boots fine, but that doesn't tell us whether it charges fine. So I need to actually get the 7 Plus Charge Flex, and I'll get a battery as well. Oh, you got to be kidding me. Where's all the 7 Plus stock I had? Seriously? I'm hoping it is actually in this. It is. Thank God for that. Right. My helpful self gave me a heart attack. I had already put aside the equipment I needed for this job. Alright. I don't really want to take that battery out unless I absolutely have to. The iPhone, the previous one was the pregnant one. It was extremely bloated. I mean, extremely bloated. It was basically 11 months pregnant. Come on, man. Plug in. Ach, nee, man. Okay. No, you son of a... It's actually amazing how annoyingly difficult it can be to get these batteries to sit in. Alright, so we're booting. None of the screen defects the other one has, thank God. So at least I know the screen's okay. Oh, sorry, I don't want to reveal what's on the screen. So I'm just having to... Oh, jeez. Freaking... Without the camera, it's fading away, like, very quickly. 1.5, 1.7, 1.3... Alright, so basically this person has just got a shonky battery, that's all. Yay! They've just got a shonky battery and a bad screen, so this is in the realm of entirely normal repair. King series. Oh, for flip's sake. So we'll change the screen, we'll change the battery. I'm quite happy about that. I was rather worried I was going to have to be either changing the dock flex or the TriStar. I'm actually not sure which one I would hate the most. I'm genuinely thinking the dock flex is a worse job than changing the TriStar. Ooh, puncture it and then put tape over it. Yeah, I sadly have seen machines and turn up with that fix. That's a very ballsy fix because it. I mean, obviously, it works a lot of the time in terms of it doesn't catch on fire or anything like that. But it is not something I would ever do. Ah, see, Mr. Miser is here with his terrible name. Flipper flucker. You can tell these are not genuine Apple strips. Flipper. What I'm going to try and do here is actually catch the middle one that's broken by drawing the outer one over it. Fuck. That's not going to happen. Far out. It's starting to annoy me. Yep. I'm going to have to do the rollout technique. There we go. Hey there, Yate Computing. I prefer the tape over the original two-sided things we had with the iPhone 4s and 4S and 5. Now the problem I've got here is that the middle strip is still there. And the only way I can really get rid of that is a few drops of IPA. Yeah, the battery 24 and all. Yeah. I'll probably heat up this entire room too. In a very acute manner. Let's see if I can see that strip in there. The IPA is doing its job. You just gotta convince it a little bit more. Ah, just realised that's micro. Alright, micro, I'm coming. Alright. I'll be right back. I was going to go do an insulin injection for micro, and I will return. in Lulu's chair. Lucky. What are these doing running around at this picture? Alright, stage two. I've got to go and quickly check to make sure that one of the other cats is around. So it'll be another minute. Hey Loki, what you doing out here? What are you spying on? Huh? What you doing? What's over there? He's spying on something out there. He's under the carport. Alright, that's all done and dusted. So, wee bit of a bend in this. Thank goodness they have pre-done strips on these things. Makes life so much easier. Okay. And I like to plug the battery in and then drop the battery in. That way at least you know that no matter where it lands, even if it's a little bit awkward, it should always then reconnect nonetheless. Okay, let's get this underway. Let's see if there's any data on this anyway. I have a feeling this one might not have any data on it. It's got some. That didn't take the data. God damn it. Tradie, they're convenient little things. Yeah, they just sort of move the True Tone data across between phones. That one does anything up to an iPhone 11 Plus. I don't have the more recent one for the 12s or anything like that. Anyway, what I'm going to have to do is disassemble this phone and find out what the serial number is on this one and see whether it's a DTP or a C11. Now, fingers crossed it's a DTP because I have genuine refurb DTPs. I do not have any C11s at the moment. If I was working in a mall kiosk, this wouldn't matter. I would just say, oh well, no True Tone transferred, who cares, give it back to the customer. And when they complain that they can sense something different in the colour, I'll just tell them that they were probably blinded by the ultraviolet caused by the latest solar flare that happened 3 or 4 days ago and has finally reached Earth. Something like that. Anything to deflect the blame from me. I'm actually surprised. I thought I would be able to determine if they were DTP or C11s from this, but I don't seem to see any difference between the serial, the True Tone data. Hey Tony. I'm just heating up the Touch ID. That should be enough. It just lets me slip this under it. So I can safely pop it out without any risk of damage. And I'm just going to do the same sort of thing for the top flicks. Yeah, Kodak, I don't think I could make enough money if I was sitting in a mall kiosk. I wouldn't be able to handle the stress, to be honest. All the people just turning up. You're trying to get a job done and they're like, excuse me, hello, excuse me, service. And you're like, yeah, I'm busy trying to fix someone else's phone. Like, yeah, well, I'm here now and I want service, please. Okay. Alright. Now the fun thing, I have to take this back plate off, and then finally, when we take the back plate off and peel away the data and touch flex, we'll be able to see whether it's a C or a D. Travis, no one's going to help you. You've alienated too many people. Bastard, it's a C. God damn it. Pain in the ass. I'm kind of unsure what to do about this in that case. What's this? Because from what I remember, if I put a DTP in place of the C that it is, I'll eventually get intermittent touch issues. Hi there, Pedro. Damn it. What I'm going to do is I'll just put the original screen aside. I'm just going to have to go with the premium screen that isn't taking touch, what do you call it, True Tone. Believe me, it's annoying. Oh, there you are. Yeah, that phone has been sent off to the maternity ward now. We're on a new phone now. And then after this, we can get to the Macbooks. Customer came and picked up that HP from last night. All happy. They ended up not going with the solid state drive. It had a 1 terabyte solid state in there, but they're only using 80 gigs of it. And they just said, look, yeah, they very rarely use the machine, so they're not going to bother putting the extra expense into moving to an SSD. Whoa, whoa, whoa. This home button is all jacked up. Okay, just give me a moment. I've just got to take my jumper off. And I might take the flannel lid off as well. Alright. Fortunately, this room keeps fairly warm, which is great in the cooler weather like this. Not so great in summer. Okay, let's have a look at how... Holy crap, a duck. Oh man. Yeah. It's actually a bit of a gamble. See, I could try and wash that out, but there's a chance that in washing it out, I'm actually going to end up, pardon me, flowing the crap into the rest of the button. And I could actually make it worse. So this is clearly liquid damage. I'm just going to see if I can knock off physically most of it. And then I'll hit it with the, what do you call it, the blowy thing, compressor. Let's see if I can get a bit more of it out. Yeah, that's in dire straits. It's going to be money for nothing sooner or later. There might even be some free chicks in it. You just be quiet now, Jim. You just be quiet now. So what I'm going to do is I'll put this back in and I'll advise the customer that, look, you know, your home button's pretty jacked up. It may not survive. We can put a replacement in, but you know, you're not going to ever have Touch ID again. like I said, if I try to wash that out, I'm almost certain I'm going to destroy it absolutely. Oh, crikey, mate. Sudi, that is correct. You are indeed the backseat peanut gallery. To be ignored for the most part. Hello there, Harry. Now, why wouldn't you try it yourself? Actually, I think so far as a subscriber and say popularity technique goes, being disdainful towards your fellow or your subscribers and those who watch you seems to work more in your favor than it doesn't. Parts way too small and you've got bad eyesight. That's why it's good to have a microscope or a magnifying glass, things like that. They work well. My eyes aren't that great anymore, so I rely a lot on wearing the glasses and everything else. Works for Linux. Now, you're talking about Linux Torvalds, as in aka Linux, or are you talking about Linux Tech Tips, LTT, or shite, wrong sequence? Got to start with this one up here first. If you don't start with that one up first, it can be pretty tricky to try and get it plugged in. Hey Christian Elwood, that sounds like something you should ask the likes of Jason Vilmer and such. It's not really something I'm any good at. But Jason Vilmer seems to rather relish in attacking those sandwich boards. I remember when they first came out and we were discussing the fact that I just flicked a frickin' screw into my pants. Oh, joy. Right. Looks like someone's going to have to pull out a screw from the parts bin now. I thought I was still working on the iPhone 8 just in the back of my brain, so I was using a Phillips driver to put those screws in, but of course they are in fact tri-wing screws, not Phillips. So naturally, of course, as soon as I applied the pressure to start torquing it down, it said, "I'm out of here," and bounced out. Damn it. Let me get the magnetic bar and see if I can pick up a screw. So this is my magnetic bar. Unfortunately, my personality is not attractive enough. Alright. I think that's it. Crikey, mate. Yep, that's it. I'll leave the other ones on the bar. It helps attract other lost screws. Because the lost screws look over and they see this bar approaching them and they see that there's a whole bunch of other friendly faces attached to it. And it's like, hey, that looks like a happening place. I'll join too. And voila. Jay, don't forget they also use Torx. Like on the outside of Macbooks, you've got the larger pentalobe, but then on the inside, you've got the T4, T5, T6, up to T8s. So yeah, it's a pretty good mix of everything. One barely plausible reasoning I heard for the tri-wing screws was that it uses less metal to make a tri-wing screw. And so, yeah, maybe they save a couple of tons of metal over a few million iPhones. Alright. That's a good start. Hex nut for the hole in the heat pipe. Yep, that's always a fun one. Thankfully I do have the driver for that. It's a 3mm hex nut for anyone wondering. And don't forget there's a different hex nut for the 6S Plus compared to say that one. Looking good. I'll put that on charge just to make sure that it does continue to behave. Well, that's good. That person will be happy. They're gonna get about $100 refund now. Because I quoted them, I think, what did I quote? I quoted $250 in the event that it was going to be screen, battery, and TriStar or dock. But in this case, it's just screen and battery. So it's going to be a hell of a lot cheaper for them. It'll be $150 instead of $250. Alright, time to clear the table since we're getting a little bit congested here. Congested like I am. The reason why I'm sounding this way is because my neighbour decided to, for the last 3 or 4 days, to just continuously burn crap. Okay, fortunately, I will admit, it has mostly been just wood, like non-treated, ordinary wood, so I'm happy about that. But it still does ultimately start to wear you down. Okay, I'll just make sure I keep their old screen with that phone. Okay, crap cleared. Alright, let's get on to some MacBooks. Get on to something that I actually know how to do. At least I think I know how to do it. It may be Dunning-Kruger kicking me hard in the head, but, well, at least I think I know what I'm doing. The only thing is I have to take the bottom panel off first, because it has customer information on the bottom panel and they don't want that exposed. Let's see, first thing we're going to do is put the sticker on. Beep. I do love it that I've now got the script set up such that when I scan in the barcode, it stops and starts the recording, and then it also links in the job number and the time to whatever the current video is. So that way it's very easy if a person comes back to me and says, oh, listen, can you check on your job 1422 whether you did such and such? And then it's very easy for me to just look up all the 1422 video segments and go from there. Is there any personal information on the sticker? No, there's not. Originally, I sort of had some sort of information there, but now what's on there is basically nothing useful. The QR code isn't any good to anybody unless you know other pieces of information that are required to complete the QR code. Wouldn't it be easy to read through the job notes? No, because a lot of the time you've missed something in the job notes, whereas the video is always going to be a definitive information resource, I guess. Let's disconnect that. So we've got a 1466 that doesn't run. Been a long time since I've touched a 1466. I'm not even joking. It really has. It's like 1466s, 1502s, and 1398s have finally become, how could you say, I wouldn't say vintage computers, but they've now become not so common. And instead I'm mostly getting 1708, 06, 07s, and so on and so forth. This is probably, what's a 00165. I'm going to guess this is actually a 2017. Miles, I want to make money, okay? So unless you're going to start coughing up the dollars to compensate, you better not try and influence the universe to make this PCH lid pop. 1388. If you're wondering, the paint pens do not stick as strongly as, say, a felt tip pen, so I can actually very easily get that paint off. But it's very clear and easy for me to see it when it's in the workshop. Yeah, alright. Holy crap, that's a messy screen. Okay, we've got our 18 volts. Got our MagSafe. We turn on. What the hell did I just press? On. Okay, I can see liquid damage by the DC inboard actually. Oh, I forgot the chipmunk. Where's my damn chipmunk? That's how long it's been. I haven't even used the chipmunk in a while. Where'd that little bastard squirrel off to? We're doing 18 volts and 740 milliamps, so we're definitely doing something. And we've got a fan spin. Ah, there's the chipmunk. Whew. Chipmunk's flashing, and we've got memory, CPU activity. So either we've got bad backlight going on here. Yeah, there we go. Alright. So this is likely corrosion damage, and it has been repaired by using the postal service to send it to me. So now I can just send it back and say it's fixed and cash in, because we know from experience that is not how it's going to play out. We know that this is just temporarily working to try and fool me. And once I lift this off, there's going to be corrosion somewhere. It's either on this board or it's on the DCN board. And I'm going to have to deal with it. Greg, it inverts things. So if it was working before, it will stop working. If it wasn't working, it will begin working. Oh, hey, Teresa. Ian. Ian, there's probably lots of euphemisms that get dropped here. So, if in doubt, presume it is either a euphemism, can't speak, or a double entendre, or whatever. Frickin' heck, I can't say anything tonight. My mouth is dry. I'm tired. I should be drinking more. I should be taking mental hints from the great and famous Mr. Rossman. Euphemism, that's it. There. There we go. I may have to bring that back up and get the DCM board out. If there's no corrosion on this, then I'm going to start suspecting that DCM board. Let's see, let's hold it the right way up. That's a pretty clean looking board. I think I can see some stuff there by the BIOS. But overall, that looks very clean. Hey, Dudumres. You're hiding in there somewhere. Hey, Warren Stamps. Okay, let's get some focus. And yeah, this is a 1.8 gigahertz, 8 gigabyte RAM. So it's a good board. It's probably a 2017 model. They're nice machines. And as always, there's always this sand that gets into them. Okay, there's a little bit of corrosion on that. That's on the RTC chip. SMC, although gritty, looks okay. Just a bit of sand. So much sand in these. I don't know, what are they? Take them down to the beach or something? Innuendo, yeah. I blame Scrubs for ruining those terms for me. The Todd. Oh, someone just messaged me. Ah, I've been paid. Marvellous. It was just the bank letting me know that today's transactions have gone through. Now, these resistors here look a bit funky. And likewise that cap, but don't... Oh, wait, maybe that's corrosion there? No. So far, we don't really have what I would consider a smoking gun. So far, it just feels like pretty rudimentary kind of stuff that you'd see any other ordinary day. Nothing's jumping out at me and saying, I am at fault. And then the others will jump up and say, no, I'm the real fault. No, I'm the real fault. I am. Yeah, Jim, it really is. I actually started watching again the other night, although it was a little bit nostalgically depressing because not only was it not widescreen, but it's gotten to the point where they actually look different to me now, the characters. And I think I've probably watched Scrubs about 6 or 7 times over now. So yeah, it was a little bit like, what's happened here? Something's transitioned in my life, in my perception. Yeah, I'm gonna say we've got a DC inboard issue here. I'm just gonna get that DC inboard out. Yindimara, you got the coronavirus, yes. Unless you got an EV, in which case you'd be laughing. Many things burn like a mofo. Sodium burns like a mofo, so does potassium. There's nothing particularly special about how intensely lithium burns. It's really no more significant. In fact, I'd be more concerned if we were using phosphate batteries or something. Nothing like a glorious shower of white phosphate to ruin your life. Nick Vasey. Huh. Huh. Yeah, huh. Yeah, that could be suspicious. Although it doesn't really answer why it... Well, the MagSafe's pretty... Yeah, okay, no. It's this... I'd say it's the MagSafe that's jacked up on this. Oh, look at that. Liquid all in there. Yep. They're going to need a DC board. I don't have any spare MagSafe units like that. So yeah, I don't think it's a logic board problem at all. This is bad DC board, or rather specifically, I'd say bad MagSafe brick. And yeah, it's not something you frequently find on its own, so you basically have to replace the whole board. That sucks, because that's a $90 board. Try the old Battlestar Galactica. Yeah. I didn't care for the new Battlestar Galactica. I thought it was doing really well for a while, and then they took that turn to the angels and stuff, and I was like, oh no. I went for that trope. Yeah, so I wasn't happy about that one. It's kind of like we painted ourselves into a corner on the storyline, so let's just pull out magic. Yeah. And I see Jason from Unofficial Mac is having a laugh at me. Yep. Jason's having a laugh. He's tormenting me. Apparently there's too many labels on this. Beep. Hey, Kenny Whidden. Should have just thrown out the whole Bioskeleton. I agree, Jimbo. Yeah, they really didn't need it. It was already a good enough story to be as it was. Okay, so we've got liquid damage, right hand port's not working. That sucks because right hand ports are the SD and the HDMI. And this is actually a board that I have no donor boards for, and I have no board view and no schematic, nothing. And these are a colossal pain in the ass to actually get apart. Yeah, I don't know where Jason is right now. Normally he's here. He must be up to something important. Ian, the Adam maneuver. Was that the one where they just basically plummeted into the atmosphere and almost wiped out the whole settlement? and their fiery approach. Kind of like the opposite of the crazy Ivan in Firefly. No, I definitely do not have board views and schematics for this thing. I've already repaired a couple of them, but they were just lucky. But this one might not be so. Oh, that's right, it's a pull-off. Yeah. Yeah, Firefly and Serenity was great, at least until they created shish kebab, wash kebab. I don't know why they did that. It didn't really do anything for the storyline. It was just bullshit. It wasn't needed. Jim, basically, yeah, this is the new model, and this one's got liquid damage on it. You can see the marks here and over there. We don't have board views. We don't have schematics. It's a very different design to the previous models. There are a lot of commonalities in terms of the blocks of the electrical blocks or electronic blocks. And the new ports that they put in, like the SD reader and the HDMI, they're essentially... how can I put it? They're essentially just like the plug-in modules you used to have on the USB-C. And they have their own CD3217s and things like that. So apparently this works, but the ports are dead on this side. So that probably is going to be a problem. Anyway, these are a big fat pain in the ass to disassemble. And they're even harder to reassemble. Yep, Ian, it'll always be too soon. Always too soon. Let's see, I need my pink lacy one. That's my pink lacy driver, that's my T4. Jim, yeah, this is an M1. It's not the latest M2s yet, but yeah, this is the Pro model of the M1. And it's also a bit annoying because you actually have to disconnect the trackpad to be able to then fully roll back and disconnect the battery. Design choices like that are very annoying. So I don't know what their plans are, but if they were trying to be annoying, good job. You achieved that spectacularly. Nick Vasey, I'm going to attempt my first 1708 FlexGate repair, cut and solder approach. Any advice? Haha. Too late. I'm going to say I wouldn't do it. You can do it, by all means. I know even crazy people like Pedro have done it. I believe so. But it is not something I'm ever going to do. The reason being that I don't do it is because, for me, if I give that to a customer, I basically have to take the warranty on that particular fix, and I'm not willing to do that for that sort of repair. I would rather, honestly, I would rather sell them a new screen if they're willing to take it and warrant the screen itself. I could well just be excessively paranoid, which is not unheard of for me. I am a bit of a excessive cover your ass type person. It has its advantages in some industries. It's what I was hired for a good number of years. But sometimes you don't want that. Sometimes you want someone who's willing to take more risks. Like I said, yeah, people are happy to do it and take on that chance that it might come back if they haven't done it right. That's great. And if you do that, then and you're in Australia, then I'll happily tell people to go get it done. But I myself, I'm not going to do it. It's a bit like I don't do CPU separations yet for iPhones. but I'm more than happy to send them off to people who do. At the end of the day, with the business, you've got to decide what is still profitable for you in terms of time and risk, and yeah, you just do that. It's not really, you don't, how can I put it? It's a bit like what Lewis was saying the other night, where do what you're good at, not what you're passionate about. It's kind of falls into that realm. To be fair, I'm not passionate about any of this. For me, I'm happy to do this kind of work because it's not a passion for me. So that makes me happy to do it. If it was a passionate thing and I was like, oh boy, I can't wait, I have learned my lesson in the past and do not wish to really repeat that. Hey, Michael Tritz. When it comes down to repairing light fixtures, I can do it depending on the item if it's old and unreplaceable. I need to match the rest of the house. Ultimately, I love to give people a warranty. Are you an electrician, Tradie? I think you did tell me that. I had a Sparky giving me cheek the other day when they were at this house. I wasn't too happy about it either. I think they were just tired, long day of work or something like that. But one section of our house, we got a subboard and it didn't have RCD protectors in it. It was just standard breakers and nothing else. And this fellow was going along with his tester, and the tester was complaining. He was saying, there was a line fault. And in the kitchen upstairs, we have bundled up wires and stuff like that. Some of them are live, some of them are not. But they're bundled up and bagged and things like that, and clear so you can see what's in there, so you don't just go shoving your hand in there. And anyway, he was definitely becoming a bit irritable because the tester kept saying there was a fault in the line. And he was like, how long have you been using these PowerPoints? They've been working okay? And I'm like, yeah, they've been fine, a decade or so, there's no worries. And he's like, who's been messing with this stuff? And it's like, you shouldn't be touching any of the wiring and rah, rah, rah. Anyway, it ends up that it dawned on him that his tester was assuming that the breakers were RCD breakers, and that's why it was giving a line fault, because obviously what he was doing was trying to get the line to trip, and it wouldn't do that because the fault current obviously was not enough to trip an actual breaker, which wasn't an RCD. And when he realized that, he was like, oops. Didn't really give me a sufficient apology to make up for his beratement, so I wasn't happy about that. And unfortunately, when people know that I do electronics repair, they sometimes have the presumption that I also just dabble around in electrical repairs, and I certainly do not. Like I said, I think it was just having a bad day, but it kind of then annoyed the hell out of me because it was like, bloody hell, man, like the other day, I spent $120, I kid you not, $120 to get an electrician out here just to disconnect the goddamn stove, the old stove. And it's something that I could very easily just do myself, because we've got the RCD breaker in the mains box for the stove line, and then just above the stove there is the isolation switch. So I could basically switch off both of those things, and I could literally cut the cable with a pair of scissors if I wanted, and for the most part I should be safe, I think. But I don't. Instead, I call out a guy and wait a day and a half for him, because everybody's busy around here. He comes out, he makes sure everything's turned off, opens up the back of the stove, zip, zip, zip. Cables are disconnected. He puts some terminators on the end and he walks away and says $120 please. Yeah. Jim, I think the big problem is that Australia runs on 240 or 230 actually now, 230 volt default. So it does have somewhat more lethality than 110 under normal circumstances. So that's basically, but look, they use that, and it's a classic sort of technique. They use the whole safety thing just simply to protect their industry. Like it's a union thing more than anything else. I can't even go and get a ticket for being able to do my own home electrical work. You can't do that anymore. You can't just go off to say TAFE, which is it's not university, but it's still higher education. Yeah, I can't go to TAFE, do a course on just standard household electrics, and get a ticket to allow me to do that work. Instead, the only way you can get your ticket now is to do a 3 or 4 year apprenticeship, and that's it. No other way. Here, stoves have plugs on them. Anytime we need a GFI, ground fault system, is when a plug is within a fixed distance of a water source. Oh, okay. We have ground fault interrupters or breakers, what do you call RCDs, on basically every circuit in the house nowadays. Well, I can see the liquid damage. Let's have a look at under the microscope. But no, I'm not allowed to do it myself. If I do it myself, I will not get insurance on the house, and it means I'll probably never get insurance after that. And yeah. Never joined a union, actually upskilling myself to train Sparky. He's been doing most of my trade. How long ago did you start, Tradie? How long ago did you start? Oh, amazingly, that missed the 3217, but it's fire trucked a few other things. I think they changed the rules on getting your ticket for, it was only about 15 years ago. The board number, yeah, I forget what it was. I think it's like, flip it. I'm just going to find it rather than try and, oh shit, that's not a good bit of corrosion there. I mean, it used to be that if you were a plumber, you were allowed to fit the water heater electrics yourself too. Because, you work with it every day, so they said, oh man, that is crispy fried. 2002. Okay, yeah, I think the transition occurred after that. The initial thing where your residents weren't, normal people weren't allowed to touch it, that happened back in the 90s from what I recall, maybe even earlier. And look, I can understand it, but at the same time, it's quite frustrating too. Hey, creature. I mean, realistically, I can completely muck up this MacBook. I can stick my tongue on the board and everything, and apart from dying a slow death, maybe if I ingest some undesirable metals, it's not really going to be an issue. But obviously, with mains power, you can die pretty quickly with that. Still, we allow people to drive cars, so you can see the sort of separation of consistency there. 3-phase is not fun, nor is single phase at sufficiently high power. But yeah, with the plumber situation, it used to be a case of the plumbers could fit the heater in, get it all done in one shot. But now you have to call in an electrician, get them to do it. But funnily enough, the electrician can't do any of the plumbing. Yeah, so it's a very strong separation of work fields. and it's if you get caught out bridging over, you get a pretty big slap on the hand. They allow restricted electrical tickets for blokes working on specific devices. For blokes like me, you could obtain one because I know you have the skill set. Yeah, but the thing is, where would I do that, Trader? Because I've been looking, and everywhere I looked only refers to old stuff, like back in TAFE, maybe in the late 90s and stuff. I've not been able to find anything recently. And look, I'll be honest, Trader Trev, I really don't like touching mains power, which is probably not a good start. I think sometimes when you fear something too much, you actually are then creating a scenario where you are more likely to suffer a mistake, sort of self-fulfilling prophecy, as it were. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, the last I heard, the only way I could now do it is if I took out 3-4 years of my life and became a apprentice. For me, it'd be nice to just be able to do my damn house, switches, things like power switches that break or light switches that break. I don't even want to pull cable through the house, to be honest. That's a horrible job. Dratchen's blimmin' making a fun job there. You made it funny. He's a very punny man. Okay, that might be a problem. I don't know if that is actually just a test pad. It's kind of coming out a long way for it to be just a test pad. I'd be very surprised if that's only a test pad. Travis, yeah, you can't touch anything. You cannot touch a light switch. You cannot touch a GPO. You just cannot do anything. If you do, and if you're found out, or if like your house burns down, and they go, you know what, you touched a light switch 10 years ago, so therefore we're voiding your insurance. We can't do light fixtures either. The only way we can do a light fixture is if there is a GPO and we can plug into the GPO. Every now and then, I think you can get adapter kits where you can plug into, say, a bayonet connection, or maybe I don't think you can get them for Edison screw though. And yeah, that's how we sort of slightly get around it. HV, so trading for you, HV would be what, anything over 1200 volts or anything over 1000. Just trying to find out what that is. Okay, that's just a surface corrosion. Alright, let's see if we've got any... What is going on here? Just going to check the diode mode on that. Just stand by while I restart the multimeter. I mean, Trady, if you know a way that I could get a ticket, like legally, then I'd be interested. I think it's something I would like to have, even if I don't actually really ever use it. It'd be nice to simply have it. Because there are a lot of things with electronics that don't prepare you for electrical, and vice versa. Okay, what's going on here? I want diode mode, damn you. Ah, there we go. Ah, CRTs. No thanks. You get kicked from them once and that's it. Okay, it's open. 0.53. Alright. Gonna have to take the risk and take the head off that. Jimbo, there probably isn't, but I think they would just refer back and sort of ask the owner, okay, well, who did this, who did that? and you'd essentially have to prove that it was done by an electrician. Because don't get me wrong, a lot of people around here do things on their own. Okay, no, that was just a test point. Yeah, weird. Drachev, don't give them ideas. They're probably going to stop us from doing that sooner or later. Like I said, a lot of the drive was, just protectionism under the guise of, or job protectionism under the guise of consumer protectionism. This here is a real problem. This is the issue at hand. So, yeah, that is well and truly toasty. Good God. Especially when they started forcing the separation, like, the plumbers couldn't finish the water heater job and vice versa. That sort of stuff, yeah, I think plumbers should be able to, at the very least, be trained and say, okay, this is what you can do for the electrics of putting up the water heater. And this sort of thing that just drives the cost of living up in Australia. Yeah, it's very nasty. It's almost as nasty as the main switch that I had to replace the other month. Clearly I didn't replace it. I was lucky. The electrical distribution company actually came out and replaced it for me. They didn't have to, because by law, the fault was the switch itself, but their responsibility stops on the input side of the switch, not the switch itself. But it was late at night, we had no power, and so the guy did us a nice favour and he carried with him the appropriate switch, swapped it over for us, and we were back up and running. Yeah, that's right, creature. It just pushes schedules out, costs up, wastes everybody's time. It's not what I wanted there. I was trying to get this cap to sort of jump up, but it's not. Tradie, sounds like you've got the best of both worlds there then. I'm lucky out here in this backwater town that a lot of the time the tradies will actually just sort of go and then accidentally do something for me. It's like, oh well, look at that, the water heater's connected, fancy that. I mean, a lot of the guys are old school guys around here, so they did previously do that kind of stuff, and before at least they were legally not permitted to. This is Ian. The current house was made by his father-in-law. The electricity trips if he has the kettle and the oven on at the same time. Well, that's pretty tragic. Funnily enough, this place used to be like that. Miles, I was talking, what do you call it, in theory. Yeah, this place used to be like that. It would be very easy to trip the main switch. And we got everything up. When I came here, I think there was one air conditioner, and I think it was a 20 amp breaker on the board. Before we had it changed over, after we got, just as we're getting solar, we had a 83 amp main switch, and a hell of a lot of circuits and quite a lot of air conditioners. So the poor old switchboard was starting to struggle under the strain. But we've got a nice new switch assembly now. Okay, let's see if we can actually find where this... Have we got a decent nub here, or are we just carbonized? I'm getting a lot of carbonized ones lately. It's quite depressing. I had one that was so bad that in the end I disabled the whole section of the board. Now, in the schematic, it had a current sense resistor going to that section, so I was like, oh yeah, I'll just pull the current sense resistor and that will remove it. But nope, it was a no stuff, and in place of it being a no stuff, they just simply flood fill the pads. So the left and right side of the current sense resistor just has a flood of circuit board between it. Fortunately, it was okay. I was able to just go in there, use the surgical knife and create that separation again. And then the machine worked, obviously without that section, but this is a data recovery, so it didn't matter. Yeah, 240 volts is good due to the fact that you generally need less, or you always need less amps to deliver the same amount of power. Yeah, I'll trade you, the pad is quite nasty. Everything around here is quite nasty. I'm not even sure what induced all the... Okay, liquid damage, but... Very interesting patterning going on with the crystallization or whatever it was that got on here. But all this spluttering here, that's what concerns me. There's a lot of metallized spluttering. And I'm not sure what's caused that. So look at that, that's a solder blob there. And that's been chewed away. Yeah, there's a whole lot of this solder business going on here. I don't know what's caused it. It certainly gives me pause for thought. This here is a problem as well, but I think iPhone 6s or something might have one. CD Collier, new Star Trek series. Which one are you talking about? Better not be Discovery. I actually didn't mind Discovery the first couple of seasons, but yeah, the last one they had on Netflix, it was kind of like, okay, this Star Trek's dead. Not that I'm a big Star Trek fan, I'll just watch it purely for entertainment as opposed to really getting into it. I'm the sort of guy that didn't mind the remake of the movies. Strange New World, Jack, I haven't seen that one. That connector's actually not too bad now that I've given it a wash. A couple of the pins need some rework. This tip is Jason Vollmer's secret on doing iPhone repairs well. I said, one of the very few times that a pencil tip works. Conical tip. Well, I still remember watching the first Star Trek, the V'Ger one. I gotta admit, I wasn't a big fan at the time because I was half anticipating Star Wars. So I was after the whole violence and explosion stuff, and my father sits me down and he says, "Here, watch this show, it'll be really good, you'll like it." And it was some annoying intellectual show. So, what is my father doing to me? Tradie Trev, I'll be in on you on that one, yeah. Red Dwarf is kind of more up my alley. Alright, so I don't know what to do about this situation here, because I'm fairly sure that was an inductor there, and I would say it was sending power to here, and that was the HDMI port. That there was just a decoupling cap, but without a board view or a schematic, I'm kind of up the creek here, and I certainly don't have any replacement parts. What's the time? Holy shite, it's nearly midnight. It's almost time for me to go bye-bye. We haven't really achieved much tonight. In fact, we've basically achieved nothing. Okay, we got one phone running, but that was just simply a fairly run-of-the-mill battery and screen replacement. It wasn't actually any diagnostic value. And yeah, this one, it's going to be a pain because I don't know what that inductor is and I don't know what that cap is, and the only thing I can really do is get a donor. Failing that, this is just going to have a non-functional set of ports. Hopefully they backed it up before they sent it to me. Everything else looks perfectly fine. Yeah, the HDMI really took a hit. The other USB-C port, I'll have a look at that too. I have a horrible feeling that the board views and schematics for these boards are going to show up in some various Chinese or whatever programs, and it's going to become like the iPhone board views and schematics where it's basically near impossible to get your hands on them. They're not going to appear like they used to. I mean, I hope I'm wrong, but as it is, we don't have all of the previous generation ones yet either. Just having a look at the USB port. Yeah, so that'll have to be replaced as well, and good frickin' luck getting that replaced. So 82103084, so yeah, I'll search around, see if I can find that. But it is at the point now where I should in my business start considering to put aside money to purchase whole machines. Like when they're new, just go out, grab one, kind of like iFixit does or whatever, and they do the teardowns. Get one, have a donor board, have a working chassis, start doing diagnostic work on it. Yeah. Oh yeah, what's the board number, right? Sorry about that, Dadumres. Yeah, Tradie, the biggest thing I get to play with... Oh, there we go, there's are things like split air conditioner system controller boards, because they get hit by lightning a fair bit around here, and usually they just simply blow the TVS, things like that, on the front end stage, and so you just replace them with the same parts, and yeah, 80% of the time they come good. Every now and then they'll blow maybe an optocoupler or something like that, and you replace them, opto-track. So we've got a 2098 I don't know if you can see that. 820-02-098. Yeah, I don't know if that's visible. 820-020-98. I don't know. I mean, unless it's this particular... These boards are just so very uniquely different in their layout and everything. Yeah, you've got the whole CPU is now central and rotated. There's some minor areas of commonality, like the CD3217 sections. The O7 probably isn't relevant in these sort of scenarios. It's never been relevant in the past, which is why I usually leave it off. But yeah, so your input stages here are much. You still got your 9240 ISL 9240s there. They've changed the audio chips a bit. Let's see. RAM controllers, I think TPS 62190 still. Yeah, 2020 is still available, and it's not even a close match. The 2020 I put out well over a year ago now. Likewise, 2016. Yeah, a bit of corrosion there. Yeah, so there are, and now this board is a completely different build. Completely different. I'm probably going to want to ultrasonic the hell out of this. Hey, Seth. Oh, crikey. Squeaky. I'm trying to put some lube in that. Alright, that's it. I'm wrapping up for tonight. You can tell in my voice and how slow I'm getting now that it's definitely a long day doing nothing useful. Time to sign off before I do anything too stupid. Let's see, just get these parts here, keep them all together. I don't want to separate stuff, it's always a bad idea. So, I'm out of here. Thanks for being here. Might see you tomorrow. We'll see how we go. Until then, catch you later. Take care.